All right, I think we're good to go. I hope the presentation is up on the screen and that you can see it. I'll be navigating through a few slides. I'm really hoping to give you time at the end to really play with one of the tools I'm recommending for screen capture and video production. My name is Murray Powick. I'm a teacher at CBE Learn. I've done a variety of teaching assignments, both face-to-face, online, and blended. I was in the Energy and Environmental Initiatives program at the CTC. It was a night class, so students came for 3 hours on Wednesdays. And I'm really using that experience, I think, in creating this presentation for all of you who are seeing students at different times, maybe in evenings, and just some of the tools that I used and implemented in my classes with students. And one of the big ones was video. So please do feel free to stop me at any time, ask a question in the chat, or say that you want to get on the mic, make it a little bit more interactive as we go. I was really happy to attend your meeting this morning when I was hearing Ken talk about some of the stats on connections, students maybe not feeling as connected to other students in their class, and maybe not as much time spent on homework. So maybe some tools that we can play with to try to increase some of those numbers if we feel they do need to be increased. I think that was actually Gail who was talking about that. But regardless, it was good for me to hear. Objectives. I listed 4 quickly here for you. I want to really focus on and demonstrate the strength of video creation by teachers and students to enhance digital literacy. So the first little part of this presentation will be on digital literacy. Fits in well with your school development plan from what I heard this morning in your meeting, and many other schools. This is more of a system-wide thing. A bit about benefits and best practices in video creation, storing, and sharing. I'm going to introduce one specific tool that I really strongly feel you could use now and will really help you prepare if there is a pivot or shift to online learning. And most importantly, the last 20 minutes at least, I'm hoping, just time for you to play with this tool, think of ideas of how you might use it in your classes, and share out a screencast or a video that you've produced. Richard Byrne is one of the educational technology gurus that I follow. He has a really useful blog. He posts pretty much daily on that thing. So I typed in digital literacy to see what popped up on his blog. And he did have a quote. And the quote was really getting at that the key aspects that we need to look at when we're looking at digital literacy is the thoughtful choice and selection of technologies we're using, and the responsibilities that come along with that. It's really more than just gadgets and websites that students are using. We see our students on these technologies all day, their phones, computers, and we will often assume they're using these in appropriate ways. And how can we bring some of that stuff into the classroom and use the technologies they're using? Sure, I can definitely touch on that. I focused on a different tool, but if you're running on a PC, you could use an audio or even a screen sharing within PowerPoint. That's a possibility. And I'm going to touch on some of the approved tools that the school board recommends using for video creation and screencasting. No worries. And if I don't answer your question, stay after and I'll answer it for you. In my research on digital literacy, there was one image that kind of summarized it. It's a big, broad topic. It looks at digital identity, and our students and we have digital identities, whether we're creating and posting content or not. It's in the things that we're consuming. If we're watching YouTube videos, there are algorithms tracking the videos we're watching and recommending videos based on that. I don't know if you have seen Social Dilemma, the documentary that's out on Netflix. Has anyone seen that? It's recent. It was released just last month in September, beginning of September. It's on Netflix, not Netflix. It's called Social Dilemma. I would check that out if you get a chance. It's really interesting. It talks about the data mining that's done, the algorithms that are at play to keep people hooked and watching videos, the recommendations that are made based on videos you're watching. All of that information is following us around, and it's largely like unregulated right now. I think that's the big theme of the movie, is maybe there are some regulations that need to be made to understand and track who is holding all this data and information, and it's really power over us. So it's digital identity and well-being. It's creating content once we actually locate information online. What is a reputable source? Where can we go for accurate information? Are we comparing sources to at least two other sources of information to determine what might be most accurate? It's using the actual technology, so the laptops, the software, the extensions, which we're going to talk more about in this presentation as we go. And I think as I was thinking about digital literacy and how it links to video creation, I really think that students producing media, multimedia components, videos, content, really helps them view the media they consume through a more critical lens. Rather than giving them best practice in media production, why not allow them to start that process themselves by creating a video? And I really feel that teachers can model this behavior by creating their own multimedia components, whether it's screencasts, video recordings, updates, feedback, many of the uses of videos that we will touch on today. Overall, it's really how students, teachers, how we are using, understanding, and creating in digital formats. Thanks for that link to Social Dilemma. It's worth some time. Really interesting to talk with students about that documentary as well, talk about student data privacy. It relates well to some of the programs that we're using and are recommended to us. Why video screencasting? It's rewatchable, it's visual, it's personal. I've used video to connect on a level and build relationships with my students and have them build relationships with each other through the tasks assigned, through assignments they complete. It enhances teacher presence. We talk a lot about teacher presence in an online class or format. It's crucial in a traditional classroom for the teacher to have a presence, but what does that look like online? Video is one way to really have a presence in an online class. Targeting learning outcomes for students. I spent lots of time looking for appropriate videos and resources for students to watch on curricular outcomes and content that we're covering in class. Sometimes you'll find a great video that really explains what you want students to know, and it's totally acceptable to use other people's videos. There are some times, though, where for whatever reason, maybe you disagree with some of the concepts in the video, not appropriate for your learners, maybe their background, maybe their prior knowledge. Sometimes it's easier to get on a screencasting tool and shoot a quick video yourself. So I feel like targeting those learning outcomes with own videos is a key aspect of screencasting. Personalization based on student interest and prior knowledge. In a video, you can give a shout out to a student in your class throughout the video. Make it entertaining, make it trivia related, game related. Give them a reason to engage in the content that you're creating and producing. I like to integrate activities within the video, so pause points for reflection, exit ticket at the end, journaling throughout the session, formulating questions based on the content that's being provided, explaining how to solve something based on the instructions that are provided in a video. And then feedback, providing feedback to students in video format. It's time consuming, it can be time consuming, but once the system is set up, I found it very valuable to have my face on the screen while I'm looking at a piece of student work giving them feedback, next steps, encouragement. Last point that I thought of to include is when shifting to online, and I've experienced this myself, a quick video explanation can be easier for teachers who have not yet had time to create more formal content instruction. So if I'm building something as I go and it's maybe taking longer than I thought, I can shoot a quick video to students, letting them know where I'm at, what to expect, what's coming up, what I'm working on currently, giving them a bit of the background knowledge of what's going on. I think that's valuable for students to know as you're kind of co-creating the course with them. Have you used screencasting before? Have you shot videos with your students? And if you have, what do you generally use it for? Is it more of a tutorial? Is it a weekly message that you might send and post? Is it lectures that you've recorded for students that are happening in the classroom? And if you're new, that's great. This session is kind of designed for that. Feel free to hop on the mic as well if you have anything to say. I did want to touch on a few best practices when we're looking at screencasting and video recording. So this really starts with the why and what, like why create a video about a piece of content and what is the purpose of it? Excellent, Marcia, that's great to hear. I love shooting quick weekly updates for students in the summer, letting them know what I got up to on the weekend, asking them to respond, posting some type of question, just creating that engagement. Online courses, if they're super text-based, can be really difficult to focus on, ones that I've experienced myself as a learner. Really starting with purpose, curricular outcomes is important. Sometimes new tools come in and we want to jump on them and use them right away without thinking about the bigger purpose and curricular outcomes that are hopefully being addressed by shooting a video. I've done some videos where looking back, maybe it was better as more of a text-based or visual audio file rather than a video. CB approved tools and processes for recording. So what softwares or extensions are we using? Are they approved within the school board? This links well to the social dilemma. When we're using specific tools, those companies or potentially individuals who have created them usually get us to agree on some permissions and usage rights. So things like accessing files in our Google Drive or images in our Google Drive. There's been some programs that I have wanted to use where when I look at some of the data that they want from me, it's pretty interesting and amazing what they want access to. So teaching students this and showing them some of the back-end approval processes is also important when we're looking at video use in the classroom. Also, what are you recording? Are you recording a live class? Are student names going to be showing up when you're recording your video? Who is going to be seeing your video and how are they going to access it? Where are you going to store it? How long are you going to store it for? These are all part of the approved tools and processes that we're required to follow and are really important in the bigger picture of students using these softwares. So once those two are done, what about the actual recording? Well, we have to choose a software that we're going to use. Hopefully it's easy to use. Hopefully it's easy for teachers to use, students to use. It's dynamic. It does the things that we want it to do. We have to decide what's going to be in the video, how long the video is, time-wise, what we're going to be teaching in it. Do you watch instructional videos yourself? Have you been on YouTube watching instructional videos? What's the last one that you watched? If you have. I had the debate streaming on YouTube last night while I was cooking dinner. I've used so many tutorials on YouTube to find out things about programs I'm using, repairs around the house. If a video is generally longer than kind of 10 minutes, I usually don't even click on that video anymore. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're kind of being programmed to watch those short little bits of information. And if it's a bigger concept, probably breaking that down into shooting smaller videos. So that was one of the considerations I used when deciding which software and extension to really use in this session. So once we've actually recorded our video and done our editing, which also goes in with the recording, where are we going to store this video? Is it going to be stored in a secure location that's approved, like our teacher YouTube channel is becoming the best practice? So setting up our YouTube channel, starting a YouTube channel, hosting our videos there so that students can log in and we can restrict those to just people in our school board seeing them. We can restrict commenting on the videos that are uploaded. And what about sharing them? The extension I'm going to use today with you, the sharing, it automatically uploads right to your Google Drive account, which is secured and approved so that that video is there. You can share links to the video in Brightspace. You were just in Sarah's session. So you could easily embed or post a link to your video right to your Google Drive account or your teacher YouTube channel. What format is it going to be in? When we're using software, especially videos, file sizes can be really large. So making sure that you've communicated with students what appropriate softwares they can use is really going to be helpful as they're trying to submit things to you. Some of the files won't send over email if they're too large. So these are the things that we have to think about even before we start even recording a video. A few tools, and some of these got brought up already. These are already approved by the school board. Screencastify I listed as number 1. It's a Chrome extension. Some of the features and limitations are on the right. So you will pick a tool based off what you really want to do with it, the purpose, the why, the outcome that you're focused on. It has picture-in-picture. There is a 5-minute limit though. That might not work for you depending on what concept you're teaching. It's also free to use. All these tools are really free and part of the suite access that we have through either Google or Microsoft. Loom is another one, and Loom has actually released some pro features that used to cost money, and if you're an educator, you get that pro subscription for free. So the Chrome extension for Loom is free and approved. There's also a software download version that hasn't been approved for use yet, so it would have to be the Chrome extension that we're using if we're going to use this tool. Microsoft Stream is a program to use that's built into Office 365. Google Meet is another recording session that people have used with Macs. QuickTime for Macs. PowerPoint screen recording got brought up earlier in the session where you can actually record your screen or presentation and include your audio as you're presenting and upload that. Keynote has a function for Mac users, and iOS screen recording for use of an iPad, specifically when we're looking at iPad use and students using iPads. So there's a whole bunch of tools that we can use. This is only a few of them. The great thing about these is they're already approved by the school board. We don't have to worry about that. You probably spent a lot of time hunting down different softwares and programs that you can use with your students. And it's always best to go to the tools that have already been approved and start using them. It'll save you some time and give you a clear direction of what you're going to use and how you're going to use it. Extensions. Google Chrome extensions are basically add-on softwares that are targeted to perform some kind of a function. So Google Chrome has a whole bunch of different extensions, things like a built-in dictionary, a text highlighter. I use something called Dark Viewer that turns all my web pages when I'm on the internet black instead of a white background, which is easier on my eyes. I'm on the computer all day. So these extensions are really useful and can help us reach some type of a goal. For Screencastify that we're going to use today, it's a screencasting software, so it just is going to allow the user in Google Chrome to shoot a quick 5-minute or less video, tutorial, or just your image up on the screen talking. You will have to do this in Google Chrome, so it is the recommended web browser. Most of us have moved towards that with laptop reimaging. It's generally the default browser that is used. On my next slide, I have instructions for how to actually download the Chrome extension if you haven't done it yet. Provided a few different ways for you to download this if you haven't already, and I'm going to give you some time and stop talking to actually follow the instructions on the screen. So we're actually going to be going to the Chrome Web Store, making sure we're signed in to our EDU CBE account, search for Screencastify. It should be the first option that comes up. We're going to click that, allow the permissions, and add it to our Chrome web browser. It should appear up on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to stop talking. Feel free to send any messages you have in the discussion area. I've also posted a video version demo of me doing it, just as another way to explain. I shot the video very quickly. I spoke very quickly in it. That was somewhat intentional, so that you might have to stop the video as you work through the different components of the download. Once you have it downloaded, you can play with it. I will be taking you through a few different, I guess, features of the extension as well. The link on the top to the web store should be active, so you should be able to click on that, and you should be able to play the video as well on your screen. If you are downloading, I'd love to hear in the chat if you were able to get it working and activated and attached to your account. You might be working in the background, still attaching this